Weed is good for it, though. It's just down to Bang. Bang's gonna upgrade a weapon, though. You're right. Do they funnel through? Do they have a Leer? Oh! Bang! What? Halfway? He's good. Oh, okay. The jump heat was enough to pull him off. Bang! Oh, Bang again!
Astra, added to Valorant in patch 2.04, at the start, everything seemed fine. Most creators were excited to get their hands on her, and there was a lot of hype around an agent that was completely unique. Unlike a lot of things in Valorant, Astra was truly unique. She brought a new playstyle and an entirely different layer of skill to the game. However, as people started to cook more and more with Astra, the meta started shifting in her favor, and eventually she became so dominant that it was a throw to your game not to have one on your team.
Needs to find this. It's such a tricky post-plant position to defuse. High angle, low angle. He's trying to clear all the other potentials, and now he's decided, right, this has to be it. This is where they're going to be. I'm still going to try and get that. Whoa!
No way, Zoms!
That spray couldn't have been better.
As she quickly rose in popularity, not only was she dominant in pro play, making the game an entire snooze fest, she became a nightmare to play against in average ranked games. Eventually, Riot did bring out the hammer, but a lot of people believe till today she got suffocated and deleted out of the game more than properly balanced.
God, I fucking hate Astra. The world would be in peace if they just removed Astra from the video game. You can just have global presence, or you can like solo hold. Imagine using 4 abilities all at the same time.
As someone put it, Astra wasn't nerfed. She was removed from the game until devs decide what to do with her. People who say the nerf is fine just don't want to see her in the game. This is the rise and fall of Astra, from becoming a meta-changing agent to now being the second lowest picked agent in the entire game.
You get paid thousands and thousands of dollars to press one button, pulling them in. What kind of agent is this?
So taking a step back to when Astra was first released and people started to master her abilities, her entire map presence was basically unparalleled, as no other agent could instantaneously put down their utility wherever they wanted to.
You're in. This is your map. When you click on this, you're running around the map. You can place shit across the whole map, which in my opinion, it seems kind of broken. I'm not gonna cap to you yet. Think about the crazy exec you can do in a team environment, dude. Like, I could smoke his, smoke this, put one here, put one here, and literally smoke, stun, tornado. Look at this shit. You can't break the stars, Anthony. You cannot break the stars. That's why I think it's OP.
That was the first thing that made Astra special, but then more so was the power of each utility individually that made her insane. The speed of which they came out, the low cooldowns, and furthermore, the fact that you had 5 stars to completely spam or pre-plan a retake, a site attack, or basically any play before it even happened. When you factor in this power with the high coordination of pro play, what do you think that you're left with? You're left with people basically sitting in astral form the entire time, playing off of their team communication to sure make some of the most powerful but boring plays that we've ever seen in Valorant Pro history.
Empress pop for nuclear kill will grant him his full HP back. Cosmic Divide though thrown through, and Avova just before it pops will manage to get the pick. They're gonna try and sneak their way through it on the other side. It's just awkward. He's blocking him on the other side, and Avova again. He's using these Cosmic Divides to ridiculous effect. Sentinels can do absolutely nothing, and it's left on to Shazam, although he finds 2.
Now, there is some truth to the fact that Valorant became 4D chess for a little while as Astra was meta, but the reason that it's often referred to as a snooze fest or boring is mainly the fact that she was extremely powerful and oppressive, meaning teams had to play with or around the enemy Astra, especially in pro play due to that coordination. When one pro Astra can lock down an entire site on their own, there's clearly a problem. And keep in mind, I'm not saying Astra herself is extremely boring by any means, but we've seen Chamber very overpowered, we've seen the Jet meta, and people hated those as well, but at least they were flashy enough to keep us spectators entertained. Astra being a controller, and especially one that's supposed to stay in the backline and play in her own little universe, UI, astral plane, is of course going to take that OP boringness that tends to happen with anything and sort of amplify it. But here's the thing, Astra wasn't just a problem in pro play. play, or else that would be called an isolated issue. That just wasn't the truth. The truth was, she was meta, she was dominant, and that was across the entire board. Playing in ranked against an Astra was extremely frustrating, and sometimes even worse than watching the pros, because sure, while an enemy pro player will have perfect coordination with their team, it also goes on the flip side. If you were playing against an amazing Astra on the enemy team, your team didn't have the coordination to counter her, meaning all that oppression from Astra was just scatterbrained through your solo queue rank games, as you were basically all headless chickens screaming at each other on what to do to fight the enemy Astra. And let me just say one thing, it wasn't a very fun experience.
What? What? Holy shit. What?
Now, Riot did try to tap the brakes a little in patch 3.0, and I gotta make this clear that they did do quite a bit, so hear me out here because it's important to the rest of the story. In patch 3.0, they made her gravity well cooldown time increase from 12 to 25, so nearly double, or over double, sorry. Her Nova Pulse cooldown time increase was also doubled from 12 to 25, and then furthermore, her stars themselves had changes. Stars are now inactive when placed during the buy phrase. When the barriers drop, the stars have to charge for 1.4 seconds. Recall cooldown was increased from 8 to 15 seconds, and the granted signature charges was decreased from 2 to 1. That's a lot of nerfs on the get-go, and might give you a lot of PTSD on how strong Astra used to be. The active stars pre-barrier, and then when it dropped, you could instantly use them, like yikes. But I digress, they weren't enough. These nerfs were substantial, don't get me wrong, but I guess it puts into perspective how strong Astra was, because her meta marched on forward for another full episode.
I'm ulting right now. They're gonna flash out. They already have spawn. They're out.
Ulted.
Oh, you are
Holy shit. Nice trades.
As her terror continued for way longer than it ever should have, Riot came out themselves and admitted that they made quite the oopsie, that they let Astra go on for far too long. So in patch 4.04, they, oh my god, they did a doozy. They just took the last nerfs and made them look like absolutely nothing. Gravity Well's cooldown was increased by double again, so 12 to 25 and then 25 to 45. But then they went further. The Gravity Well size decreased substantially. Gravity Well no longer affected certain areas, especially the ones underneath. The cooldown of Nova Pulse was doubled once more, 12 to 25, then now to 45. Nova Pulse also didn't affect underneath areas. Nebula was also touched from 14 to 25, its cooldown was doubled, but then one of her stars completely got removed, and the cooldown of retrieving the stars got doubled again. Here are a couple takes from content creators and pro players after those devastating nerfs.
That's insane. Oh my god. Okay, now Gravity Well and Nova Pulse cooldown, this is insane. 25 to 45 seconds, that is so long. If you bait out a suck from an Astra, you pretty much don't have to deal with that suck for an entire like minute. Oh my god, that is so, like, in that time your Dark can come back up, your fucking what else can come back up? Dark can come back up, the Sky Flash can come back up, like a bunch of things can recharge by the time you have like a second util. Your Viper Wall can recharge, like fully recharge, right? Like that is insane. They just don't have a suck anymore, and now that neither anyone like under the ability, so it's like if you star to suck Heaven, it won't get the Hell guys anymore. If you stun Heaven, it won't stun the Hell guy. That is huge as well. Oh my god.
And now Astra is nerfed to we're gonna have to like try and figure out ways of practicing on the old client, you know, because like Astra's nerf is just so rough. 4 stars. 25-second recall timer. Cuckoo. Astra's in the bin, mate. She is looking like Astra's going in here, mate. Astra, in the bin you go. Bye, Astra, mate. Good luck. You know what I mean?
But the million-dollar question here is now what? Or is Astra fine? Was this really a balanced move? Or did Riot really need to delete her as they tried to figure her out? Well, figuring her out is taking a hot minute, because that was patch 4.04, and until today, we kinda got nothing. Astra was just never touched again outside of minor bug fixes. They left her in the gutter. Now, some people are completely fine with it. In my opinion, this is a harbor discussion discussion all over again, or another copy paste of what happened to Chamber. Usually when balancing issues are this problematic, it's always to do with the fundamental and underlying kit of the character, and Astra is by far no different. If you want to leave her unique in the sense of her astral form and wide map presence, then you have to keep those cooldowns extremely high so they're not abused. But once those cooldowns became super high, she became very clunky and punishing to play. No matter how you put it, she's the second lowest picked agent after Harbor, and arguably after seeing Harbor used in pro play, I'm seeing him more in ranked than I currently am seeing Astra, and the big reason to that is because while Harbor also needs team coordination, I'd argue that his abilities are still more straightforward for the average player to use than Astra. Astra has the downside of, yes, needing the coordination that Harbor has, but also needing the personal skill to actually utilize her kit. Tons of game knowledge goes into using Astra, but also mechanical skill as you're micromanaging your UI, yet still trying to keep yourself fast-paced to stay in the game and not in your menu. Now, the truth is, Astra is not useless. With good team play, and especially in the higher ranks, she can still be oppressive in the right hands and on specific maps. And by far, she's still healthier today than she was when she was at the very top and super overpowered. Very similar to Chambers. Especially after his recent buffs, he's a little bit better, but he's still not meta or dominant, and the other Sentinels are overshadowing him. This is what's happening with Astra. Besides Harbor, the other controllers are just better than Astra. However, I would like to preface that unlike Chamber, the difference here with Astra is just that if you're going Omen or Brimstone, you're just going to be a little bit more reliable across all ranks. Keep in mind that when I make these videos, and especially have the end video discussion about the agent themselves, I like to look at the broad game and not niche or specific anyone out. If we were only going to look in pro play, then yeah, Astra can still be strong in the right hands on the right map with perfect coordination. But the minute you turn into solo queue and then you like to average it out across all the ranks, Astra becomes a lot weaker. If you're a silver player, playing Brimstone and learning the basic smoke spots is still going to be way more reliable than accidentally messing up your UI, misclicking a bunch on your keyboard, accidentally using your star and then having to wait 45 seconds, which is basically the rest of the round, before being able to be useful again to your team. My best prediction is that Astra will receive a buff. What this buff will be is basically unknown, but I do think that she needs it, even if it's just a little. The best thing Riot can do is stop making these massive swings and start tuning things slowly. Start by maybe giving Astra 1 star back and reducing the cooldowns by a flat 5 or 10%, because when they decided to nerf her, they doubled it twice, meaning that by the end of it, she was 200% slower, which is just crazy. Give her 1 star back, make her 10% faster to use overall, and then let it cook. See how it's gonna turn out. Because I think the true moral of this entire story isn't just about Astra, it's about the way that Riot does balance, as we've seen with Chamber and even the Jet meta before the rework, and now Astra and even Harbor with a poor release, is that they're too slow to act, and then once they act, they're swinging with a damn bat and knocking us out. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Harbor is buffed to do the most insane amount of things ever and then becomes meta for a year before they decide to delete him. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Okay, bye.